Okay folks, we got one last thing to do on Nim. If you followed my previous videos, it looks something like this, that we have a random number to start with of stones between 15. I actually said between 15 and 30, so I'm going to go with 15 to 31. Stones to take is just a variable that gets shuffled back and forth. Player 1 takes some stones, then player 2 takes some stones. We did input validation, so we have a while true loop that we're forever stuck in the game until somebody takes the last stone, and then we break out and we say who the winner was. We only minus the stones from the pile after we have a valid amount of stones to take. Okay, and this if here is kind of complicated, but because it's mostly ands, there's a less than or equal in there that'll probably evaluate second. So I might want to put parentheses around that. I don't know. If it works, run with it. And then at the end, whoever takes last turn, it's over, and then yeah, game over outside the while loop. So the one thing I want to do is the AI. Okay, so before we even start the game, I want to say 1 or 2 human players and type 1 or 2. Question mark after that. Okay, so this is my prompt, and I'll put the question mark back there. It looks a little less ugly, but okay. And then we're going to console.read line, and we don't have anything to store it, and we got a couple integers. I'm going to make a string just so I don't have to cast. String choice, or let's go players, and by default it's going to be 1 or 2. We had a 2-player default, and let's leave it uninitialized. That might be more dangerous. Let's make sure they tell us. So players equals console.readline. Remember, this is prompting, and this is storing whatever they type. If they type 1, 2, 100, we do need some input validation right here. We should say, let's make players equal -1 actually, because we're going to say while players is not equal 1 and or and because this is a string, it's not gonna quite work. I'm just gonna put this blah here. You're like, why are you putting a blah? It should be 0 or something weird. Well, because we don't want to cast, we want to use strings. So let's put this loop in the while, tab these lines in, hopefully, and the and looks like this. I can't remember if it's gonna be an and or an or. So if they type 1, 1 not equal 1 is false, and we're already false. If they type 2, either side makes it false, and we're done. If they type 3, 3 not equal 1 is true, and 3 not equal 2 is true. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be an and. Okay, let's do it with an or. Bar, shift bar bar. 1 not equal 1 and 1 not equal 2. Does 1 not equal 1? That's false. And 1 not equal 2, that's false. And this loop will never happen, which is good on a 1. What if I put 3 in here? 3 not equal 1, that's true. 3 not equals 2, that's true. Oh my gosh. So I've explained it to myself that they both work, so let's just test it. I'm going to run it, and it should give me an error message. Hey, operator not equal cannot compare two different things. It can't compare a string and an int. And I am going to make this a string. Okay, so I don't have to cast, so let's run it again. 0, 0, 3, 1, 2. Okay. So it was not an or, it had to be an and. Okay. So it should have been less restrictive. Ands are more restrictive. It's going to be hard to get a loop. It has to be 1 or a 2, or not equal a 1, or and not equal 2. So maybe if do it that way. It has to be while players equals 1 or players equals 2. But I just went to not equal, so I had to flip it to an and. while player is not equal 1 and player is not equal 2. Okay, so let's go 2 players. All right, now it just continues on with the game like normal. Now, for the player 1 taking the stone, it's always a human. Okay, now player 2 taking the stone, we're going to have an if. Okay, let's break this up, and this is player 2, human player 2 input validation loop. And basically we just want to get a valid stones to take before we take the stones. Okay, so this right here is what we're looking at. This should only happen if the play is equals 2, right? So I'll put this on the previous line. If play is equals 2, then while true. And you're like, wait, do I want to put a while inside an if? And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of weird, but why are we going to do this? If play is equals 2, only do this part for a 2-player game. And then why do I put a while loop inside here? Because that player 2, that human player, could keep doing bad input. So a while inside an if, it kind of toys with your mind, but we only do this if that. And remember that this if and this while are inside the bigger while loop for the game. So this right here is the while loop for the entire game. Okay, and so I got whiles in here for the validation loop. I got ifs. If they take many stones, they lose. But it's so important that your tabs are the correct amount. So you know that this while loop is only part of this if. This while loop only happens if player is equals 2. Okay, so let's go if play is equals 1. Then, and I'll close that off right now so I don't forget about it. And this could be an else if right now. Okay, and let's have an else. If players was 3 or negative z or something like that, we should console.write line something bad happened. Okay, remember I do that so that, you know, I am expecting only a 1 or 2 for players, but just in case I want to have something bad happen. Okay, so what do we do if players equals 1? What does a single player game look like with the AI player's turn? Okay, I'm going to scroll up again. Make sure you know that this while loop has the while loop for player 1 for input validation, takes away a stone, breaks if they've taken the last stone, and then continues on with player 2's turn. And I'll put it right here. Player 2's turn happens down here. It needs to be either AI or human, but not both. So that's why I have an if else. Okay, so the else is the human player's turn. And we could have switched this around, right? We could have said if plays equals 2, do the human stuff, else if players equals 1, do the AI stuff, but I just chose to put it here. Okay, so what's an AI turn look like? Well, we're going to use kind of like rock, paper, scissors. Actually, it's almost exactly the same as rock, paper, scissors. We're going to say stones to take equals, what are they going to take? They're not going to take 100, they're not going to take 0, they're not going to take a negative number. They're going to take some random number, and I can't remember what I called it. My randish, yeah. Dot, oh yeah, it's next, and I can go 1 through 4, not including the 4, right? So it's either 1, 2, or 3 stones. Okay, this will be the easiest version. Stupid AI takes random stones 1, 2, or 3. Okay, let's try this and see if it works. I got an error message. Play is equals 1. Oh, I didn't want to cast, so I put it as a string. And let's see if it works now. Let's go 2 players and make sure that still works. 3, 3, 3. Everybody's taking 3 stones, and it's over. Let's run again. 1 players. How many stones, player 1? Well, I think I want 5 stones. Nope. I want 0 stones. Well, let's go 3 stones. Oh. Okay, and now I took 3 stones and made 12 stones, and now there are 10 stones left. Okay, so it just takes the stones for the AI player. Let's print out computer takes plus stones to take And heck, let's say stones there. Try it again. 1 player game, I take 3 stones. There are 24 stones left. Computer takes 2 stones, 22 stones left. And let's say after each person's turn, let's do a \n. Okay, I could just do another console.write line. Could it work, but I want to make sure you know what the \n is, okay? Remember from Python or other languages, it's a new line character. It's just like hitting enter. Okay, so if I put a new line after that, it's not going to print the \n, it's going to actually print a return, which will just make a new line. So 1 player game, we're going to take 3 stones. Okay, computer takes 2 stones. I'll just keep taking 3 until it gets closer. The computer is taking a random amount of stones. Now, I should try to force the computer to do something stupid, okay? So I'm going to try to take 1 stone. And this computer could take an illegal amount of stones. I'm not going to worry about that just now, but just note that I'm going to beat it most every time, okay? Because if I play smart. So 1 human player, 3 stones, 3 stones, 3 stones. We're getting close. There's 3 stones left. If I took 3 stones, I would lose. If I took 1 stone, let's take 1 stone. Okay. I took 1 stone. The computer, if it was smart, would have taken just 1 stone and made me lose. But it took a random amount of stones and it lost, okay? So this works. I'm going to scroll down through it real quick. I got the setup for how many players do you want. I got an infinite loop. I'm going to call this the game loop. I got an input validation loop inside that game loop. I only take some stones after I get the legal amount of stones. If the stones was less than 1, I break and the game's over and player 1 lost. Now the player 2 turn is a little harder. It's if players equals 1, do the AI turn, take some random stones, 1, 2, or 3, and print it out what they did. Else, if it's a 2-player game, let them take a valid amount of stones and do a while loop input validation to make sure they do it. And then once that's done, if it wasn't players equals 1 or it wasn't players equals 2, then something bad happened. They chose 3 players and it didn't catch that they did it wrong. Only once the player 2 does a valid amount of stones do I minus the stones, and then if they have taken the last stone, print that they lose and break out, and then the game is over. This is outside of the game loop, and then that's the end of the program. Okay, so let's do one more thing. Let's try to make the computer smarter. Okay, the computer's only going to take a random stone if there's greater than, let's go 3 stones left. Let's not make it really smart. Let's make it kind of smart, so a kid would have a hard time. A kid in elementary school would have a fun time with this game. Not necessarily, a high school student or a older adult or something like that, because an adult's going to start looking at about 6 or 7 or 8 stones, how many stones they should take, right? The computer's just going to start looking at 1, 2, or 3 stones. Okay, so and I'll just do it in pseudocode. If there's 3 stones left, take. Else if there's, I'm just going to say it, else if 2 stones, else if, I have 1 stone left, let's do 4, because 1 stone left, it has to take it, so there's nothing really to do there. Do else ifs. Okay, so this is the pseudocode. I'm going to turn it into real code right now. This is going to be my final else, right? There wasn't 4, 3, or 2 stones left. There was, let's do the else, the 1 stone left. That way it won't take more than the stones than there is. The computer won't make my program look stupid. Last time it took 3 stones when there's only 1 left. The computer didn't check it. Because we shouldn't have to check the AI computer that it took valid stones. We could, but let's just force it to in here. Okay, so this is going to be the final else, okay? If it wasn't 4, 3, 2, or 1 stones, take a random stones, okay? So I'm going to put this as else. Oops. And I'm going to put a parenthesis. Do I need parentheses? Nope. Because we only do this line after. Print the stones computer is taking. And that's obvious, the computer takes blank stones. Let's get rid of that comment. Okay, please note it is not part of the else. Not because of this return here, but because the else doesn't have curly braces, okay? So let's go Here we go. And this should be tabbed in, sorry. The else and all this should be tabbed in one line. Okay. If stones left equals 4. What do I do? Well, I modify the computer's stones to take variable. Stones to take. It's not going to be random 1 through 3 anymore. It's going to be, well, I'm going to put a question mark here. Stones to take equals what? Okay. And there's going to be else if stones left equals, and let's go down through the line, equals 3. And I can start copying and pasting. And so I don't need this pseudocode anymore. But I do want you to think, and if you've never played Nim before, you need to pull out some coins or some rocks or something, S-grammar for a pile of something, and you're going to play Nim so that you know how to do this strategy. If the stones left equals 4, this is the computer playing. How many should it take to force the human to lose? Okay, I'm going to stop recording right now. You should be able to figure this out on your own, but I am going to finish it up just so it's not an incomplete program. But okay, welcome back. Now go ahead and pause the video. I know you didn't really do it, but now that you have paused the video, when there's 4 stones left and it's the computer's turn, the computer should take, 3 stones. Now there's 1 stone left and it forces the human to take the last stone. If there's 3 stones left, I should take 2. If there's 1 stone left, 2 stones left, I should take 1. And just so I don't accidentally take a bad amount of stones, if there's 1 stone left, I should also take 1. And let's go up here. Can I be even smarter? If there's 5 stones left, what should I do? I take 3 and it puts it down to 2 and I'm lost. If I take 1, I take 2, and that puts it at 3 and I'm lost. If there's 5 stones left and I take 1, it goes down to 4, and I think I won. Okay. I'm going to leave this one empty. Okay. I'm going to say, what should I do at 5 stones left, 6 stones, etc., etc. Okay, what should the computer do at 5 stones left, 6 stones? Okay, that's gonna be your job. But let's save this and run it. 1-player game, please. I'll take 3 stones. I didn't know how many stones that I started with, but that's not really my concern because it's always higher than matters. But computer takes 3 stones. I take 3. Computer takes. Oh, there's 4 stones left. I'm going to take 1 and see if the computer's smart enough to beat me. Okay, yeah, the computer took 2 stones. Yeah, this is awesome. Let's run it again. 1-player game. I'm going to take 3 stones. 3. Let's get down there. 4 stones left. Again, if I take 2, is the computer smart enough to take 1? It sure is. I'm going to take 0. -1. Oh, I lost again. I took 1. Player 2 wins. Okay. So that's how you put some AI in this, and I know that it's kind of hard to do it, but once you start writing basic AI, if you get a taste for it, you're going to want to keep making more AI or more computer intelligence. It's pretty darn fun. Okay, so I'm scrolling down through the program one last time to give you a look at it. It is kind of long, but hopefully it was worth it. And we'll see you in the next game program.